Greetings, everyone. I am Director Arketer, as is typically the case. However, most unusually, a full 24 minutes past the scheduled start time. Don't ask, I won't tell, and no one will be happy about it. Hope you're all well, though. Indeed, and no one ever will. Anyhow, it is where I am, sweltering, so I'm not getting into VR. I won't do it. I refuse. Plus, there's a non-zero chance systems will melt if I try. The cause of my delay, however, was definitely not flatulence, although it's actually rather charming to see Haven making an effort to troll me. It's been a while. And I expect that sort of thing from Subius and 100 Haven, but it's almost out of left field. Don't worry, no offense is taken. Remember, trolling me is pretty much one of the major reasons we do all this. Bishop, I am not touching you in any capacity, so that one's right out. What I am doing, however, is tinkering with Stable Diffusion. Not the Stable Diffusion you might have seen on some web apps, but rather a locally run Stable Diffusion, where I have been using it to basically have the AI try to beat my sculptures into something worth actually looking at. Fromun, meanwhile, is approaching the tried and true approach of making his own art live here. Perhaps also rubbing in the fact that he can do so without putting on a very hot and graphically intensive headset. Anyhow, you may recall my sculpture of Omegog. It was awful, but I have been running it through refinement loop after refinement loop in Stable Diffusion. Stable Diffusion, what was it? Automatic 111? Any case. It is something that most people could probably run on their cut systems right now. My system for this is basically potato because it revolves around VRAM. And my card, although powerful otherwise, has fuck all for VRAM. Which means that I don't get to do the really cool stuff like play with the super fast, super intelligent chatbots without waiting 30 minutes. Oh, but we've forgotten to greet everyone in the chat, so I'm going to do that now. I understand. Here we go. Greetings, Haven. Could be Snesson 100. Greetings, Bishop. Greetings, Nerdy Rodent. I'm glad you're here, but you're probably going to have a great time just laughing at me because, unlike myself, Nerdy Rodent knows exactly what they're doing with all forms of Stable Diffusion. In fact, a lot of what I'm doing I've learned from Nerdy Rodent via their fantastic YouTube videos. If any of you remember my original sculpture, you'll know it didn't look anything like this, but you recognize it, surely, the shapes therein. This has been the result of several refinement loops. And I know a lot of artists are kind of wetting their pants over this, some of which I know personally. I would like to stress, no, it seems a threat, but what it is if you're not stupid enough to buy a leashed tool, is just a new tool that is incredibly useful for refinement. It presents a new finishing point and a new starting point for art, and while it enables a lot more of the layman, it only boosts the skilled. See, for instance, if I had a skilled Photoshop artist right now, every time this was run, I would be able to produce a masterpiece, because these are never perfect. They're always flawed. There's always something weird about them that needs work. Now, in my case, my only hope is to refine prompts, run again, and then just select the best option of that largely randomized result. And that's what I've gotten here. But a proper Photoshop artist, say like McCog and Morskar, could take this right now, clean up those eyes, redarken the area around the eyes, and maybe get rid of that weird G logo ear and be on their way. Me, I've got to keep clicking generate. But first, and I'm going to try not. I don't. Okay. Aha. Well, I'm glad that I don't seem to be the target of it this time. It is still worthwhile to learn all forms of digital art, Haven. Nothing about Stable Diffusion has presented a reason not to become a skilled digital artist. You just might want to resign yourself, along with other artists, that Stable Diffusion is going to be some tool they're probably going to want to just incorporate. Just own up to it, embrace it, work on with it. The reason being is that it's not going anywhere. It's only going to become more prevalent. It will see a lot of use, and although the government would like to control it much more thoroughly, they can't quite yet. Again, everything you learn in the digital art process will allow you to make a better end product with all manner of stable diffused art. It's well worth it. For all the artists who are freaking out over it, I would like them to consider this. Every last Photoshop artist, if they were faced with a old school oil painter, would probably be told that they are a useless hack person who isn't a real artist and should probably just stop. You know, all the things that they're probably going to start telling the Stable Diffusion tinkerers, if they aren't already. Yeah, I have grudgingly agreed with you on many occasions, and it stings every time. About a lot of things, yes. Not all things, but a lot of things, yes. I can be stubborn, but I can also admit when I've been wrong, typically. Could take a while. Government's still inevitability. Past a certain population point. Okay, but moving on. Greetings in chat to K Shoal. And because I'm not in VR, I can keep up with the chat. I would like to suggest to you that you could actually, using me as your humble proxy, suggest some things we can do with Stable Diffusion. We can generate absolutely anything, although we're not going to do that. We're not going to generate absolutely anything, because we could generate absolutely anything, and there are a lot of things that simply will not do for generating on my channel. So, perish that thought right now. That said, I hope you'll enjoy seeing some of the results. Personally, I'm pretty pleased with how this is turning out. It's less Omegon, less Magog, a lot more Eldritch. It looks more like a Mind Flayer with a runny mouth tentacle. Or quite possibly a Mind Flayer human hybrid puking up a massive amount of spooge. But that medallion with the incredibly art style MOM is just... that's great. Also, for some reason, Stable Diffusion does not like doing bird skulls. It'll give you all the living birds you want, but almost never properly turn up a bird skull. Okay, here we have the version I'm working on there, and we've got what I've been hoping for, what I've been fishing for this entire time. Smooth eyes! It's a little chromatic still, but Damn, we're getting there. Also, among Nigrons, I put teeth quite clearly. And it's still trying to give it teeth. Why? Okay, I'm moving skull in it as well. I wanted bird skull, but if it's going to keep turning Omegog into a skull, that's not going to fly. Also, each batch of this might take a while to generate. Again, it operates off of VRAM. And it doesn't like moving fast, even when I'm not running OBS, a Discord call, and of course the live stream itself. On the bright side, while waiting for the next batch to render, there's plenty of time to check the chat and just say hi. How are you? I hope you're all well. Thank you, all of you, who, by the way, enabled the last SRS. Once again, that really was done by the seat of pants. I understand a lot of you signed up for Rumble just to try to like and subscribe, and it didn't allow you to chat immediately on that show. That is a pity. I appreciate your effort, whoever did that. Extant is not quite what I'm hoping for in the long run. That is a swift quality hammer, I have to say. Oh dear. Yeah, Haven, your effort is appreciated. Yeah, please don't stress yourself out that much. Certainly not on my part. You know, now it looks like an alien necromancer that's about to kill a seagull that shit on his face. I don't know if I can fix that. I might need to start over again. Each generation of these, however, is not deleted when I start over. When you generate these things online on someone else's hardware and software, then you often lose generations. But when you're doing it on your own system, every iteration persists. Okay, I'm going to increase the denoising strength just to get some novel results. So I missed the Rumble show, Snoopy 100. It will be probably on Rumble for the duration, mostly because, well, Kaz commissioned Arcturus for the next one. I assume he might expect it in the same place, same time. Plus, I do like the idea of getting on Rumble because I do think Rumble might be the best rising competitor. Hopefully, the many predatory and bullying algorithms on YouTube will not spike my channel because I dared say so. However, it's unlikely to ping me unless I violate a more lucrative narrative. which I don't have to worry about Rumble as well. And that's something else I really enjoy, especially running SRS on Rumble, because Rumble doesn't give a shit what music it hears me playing. And I am extremely sick of the threatening messages YouTube sends whenever it recognizes a tune. Greetings, Deep Sixer, another person who has recently moved to Rumble. It's partial. Yeah, Dinkula is grade A across the board. I think we all know that. Yes, I think I can do a lot more on Rumble with the SRS than I could on YouTube, so I'm not in a rush to bring it back here. Especially after going through so much last-minute drama to get it running Friday as it was. Yeah, Haven, Fromun's already on it. He's making Dankula much thicker. Some artists will give me grief for running Stable Diffusion here, but I would like to note not only is this art extant through the prompts I've typed in, through negative prompts I've typed in, through the samples I've chosen, the various decisions I've made along the upgrading path, but it also couldn't exist from the start without the original sculpture I made. Ooh, this looks like a very promising batch. Well, Sixer, my accounts are all arranged for Rumble now. Both my personal and my streaming account. Okay, that is looking very good. I can't wait to see how this 4 turn out. One thing I've noticed about Stable Diffusion batches is that you can often have a batch of 4 coming up that look real good. But then Stable Diffusion will just say fuck you and make them all derpy as hell in the final step. I really hate when it does that. Maybe I can convince it to turn that into a blade that's impaling a seagull. Now see, this is a prime example. It was looking so good. And then it just went all Dia de los Muertos on Bagog's face. What I'm going to do here is I'm going to put in a negative comment for tattoos, blemishes, and see what the next batch looks like. Meanwhile, whatever that is coming out of the tentacle of Magog there appears to be him killing that seagull, whatever it is, and I'll just roll with that. Do wish I could have a proper bird skull, but no. Yes, I believe Fromun is working in at least one pub. And I have to say, you have to handle Dankula. He really came through that well. Leveraged it, went on to do his own really cool things. I'm sure you're all very familiar with Mad Lads. It's an excellent series. See, that's something I was unaware of, because while I am fond of his work, I don't follow anything very closely. Now see, I've seen that before, but I didn't know he's doing sort of YouTube series based on it. Well, as well he should. Well, I heard them bitching quite malodorously about the Supreme Court decision that didn't actually change anything, just reminded people that they have the right to refuse service. Which is oh, they can't hear you. Hold on, really? Okay, yes, I'm sorry, Fromun. You were muted.
Yeah. See, the things I have to work with. Ugh. Do you know how hard it is to work with someone who's just so unprofessional? I mean, what a little bitch.
Yeah, the interesting thing I was talking to myself. I guess in that case, you would be my imaginary friend.
Okay. Yeah, so then, let's put this in.
Sometimes I really don't think they believe me when I say I am not. I am a perfectly sane person, just not much of a scientist. I mean, I'm a science believer, really big on science in general. I deal with scientists. It's close enough, right? But I'm not a very good scientist, mostly because I suck at math.
You know, there's a version of Newtonian mechanics that doesn't use math at all.
See, that sounds like something I'd probably have a lot of fun with, however. Haven, my putting up with you and Fromun and everyone else is one of the things that really helps me to remain very sane. It's exposure therapy, you see.
I've been telling him that in his sleep.
That's a disturbing thought. No, I don't think so. All I can tell you is that I'm as sane as I'm ever going to get, and I've actually improved over the years. I was much crazier 5 years ago, believe it or not. Or, well, three years ago at least. I mean, I wasn't really crazy even then, mind you, but...
He was a Bernie bro.
Okay, I didn't factor that in. That wasn't so much crazy as naive.
Potato, potato.
Well, these are some fun works, but maybe I should ditch this entirely and pull up one of my other sculptures to start refining through Stable Diffusion. Yeah, I might as well, because it's not getting less dias de las muerte. It's just actually getting worse. Maybe it's time to take a break.
One of those Spanish types.
And let's see, what shall I tinker with instead? Well, I could put Alistaria's face on one of her own sculptures, but that, without express permission, could be taken poorly, so maybe not that. I could try once again to merge Magog and Morscar with the Death is Certain thing. Let's try that. It's going to fail horribly, I already know this much. But if it works...
There. Let's do a something surface. Solidify that back. And we'll go with that. That's time. So let's see if we have that. Now I need to add get rid of that split bind subdivision surface, get myself a multi-red.
Ooh, Nightmare Phobia, that's a request. Very good. Let me run through this diffusion, and then I will try to import the Nightmare Phobia. You know, I could easily, it would be so easy, JR, to merge Magog with Vampirella. It would be dramatically easier than if I was trying to merge him with Amegon, which is what I've been doing up until now. I just have some misgivings, because if you didn't know this, Magog Morskar is a very talented Photoshop artist, and if he was inclined to seek revenge for me creating that sort of proxy Photoshop, he could do so much worse to me. So much worse. And furthermore, he has a t-shirt shop which he can even start selling. And, well, if he went that route, as long as he gives me a cut, I'd probably let it slide. But, let's not. Well, yet, anyway. Actually, I think I'm going to go ahead and resize one of my Nightmare Furby images.
Let's see, then we have that.
I could have sworn I'd already secured.
Cylinder.
A Nightmare Furby. Maybe I haven't. Well, this should be easily fixed. I just need to get into my documents.
Do. And then babble on that with, let's go with like 4 segments. And this segment I want to have to draw again. That right there. There.
Oh, no, I've got an even better idea. This should be very interesting to see what Stupid turns up with. A while back, 2016 in fact, I did make a graphic of a skeleton squad of MAGA hat-wearing individuals. Oh no, this won't work with Stable Diffusion. I don't have the model that allows for text in the image, and it'll just be gobbled to hell. Never mind. Dumb idea. Oh, you've either Fromun, you might want to check your streamlabs.
Streamlabs. Okay, oh, 1 second. I had it open a second ago. I don't know where it went. Come on. We have. Where are you? British are coming. Donated £10, saying, "Not much to say, only that you have a great day."
Well, that is very generous of you. The British are coming.
It's wonderful. I appreciate it. The fact that it's in pounds and, it's 2 days until Freedom Day. I take this as penance for being British or something like that. I am currently using Blender. So, wonderful little thing. It's how I do most, if not all, of my 3D whatnots. I've tried other programs. It just didn't work too well. So, now let's see. I want the camera. I want the camera to... camera view, camera to view. Let's go with 150. Better yet. Camera to view. That's why. Where is that there, that there?
I'm looking for pro tips when it comes to Blender. Fromun is the guy to talk to there.
It is, yeah, it's a very useful program. Let's go with a 0.2, just to make that small enough to get rendered all at once. And that there.
Well, the text came through pretty nicely. I'm going to run this one more time. And then I will move on to the Nightmare Furby.
That looks fine. He looks like there's another spots that are not that close to mind, or that I don't know. Okay. Now I need to start painting pugs. So let's have this one be Buddha. Need to have him be like a little man. This tan is tan can be. True.
Okay, well that was a complete disaster, and I know exactly why. It got reduced too low. That's one reason.
Too low.
To disable that, delete this, and bring in the Nightmare Furby.
So now that we have that, reference image for
Nightmare Furby, go!
So then back to this, I just want to make the darker on the ears. Set that to like that there.
Fun fact, the reason that last effort to do a death is certain version was because it had reduced the size of the image too small. And at that point it just kind of, well, becomes that gay glow confetti horror that you're already seeing. Oh dear, I was afraid of that. It is, in fact, too big.
Face is too big.
What happened here is the out-of-memory error. There is no more memory to remember. Hopefully, reducing the scale will fix this. But at least my computer didn't overheat and shut down. So, there's that. Because it has done that before. Oddly enough, not so much with Stable Diffusion as with the chatbots. I've had, I think it was the Kronos Hermes model, just absolutely overheat the system and shut it down as it tried to type out one response. But then again, that was a model designed to write entire stories on response. So that probably has something to do with it. Okay, it seems the Nightmare Furbies are now rendering. It could take a while though. I'm really running at the edge of what my system can do. Or rather, it's running at the edge of what it can do. I'm just largely sitting here. Yeah, for the time being, I'm just doing 512 by 512. I found I can cheat my way into getting results that are 1024 by 1024. But every time I refine it, I need to have it shrunk down to 512, 512, then upscaled back to 1024 to get those results. And if I'm just upscaling, well, then it's not really a big deal at all. Let's see. By the way, if you weren't already aware, the 4X Ultra Sharp Upscaler is just magical for that.
So then let's see. We want, well, Bronson, if I recall correctly, is an all black puppet.
You know, there's a hazard with Stable Diffusion that I don't think the media has addressed the slightest, which is kind of surprising because they are really going out of their way to shit bricks over it. Otherwise, waiting for these batch renders, this is a sort of gambling. You could addict a pigeon to this. I have spent hours just hoping the next batch of results will be a little bit better than the previous. It's potentially unhealthy for me.
Well, that's just the artwork in general. I mean, basically 90% of what you're going to do is going to be in the first 10 minutes, and then the rest of it is just tweaking. I mean, that's how I find a lot of my work in Blender. It's I get the general thing, and then it's just so much tweaking to getting things to where I want it exactly. That's
the first batch of Nightmare Furbies are complete. I am not pleased with the results. They're all robots. I'm looking for flesh horrors here. This needs more negative prompts. Yes.
Other attribute base color.
Okay, let's try again. This time, I've gone with the prompt high resolution photo taken with a Canon M50 of a nightmare Furby, flesh horror, body horror, Cronenberg, with negative prompts of cartoon, illustration, robots, robot. These, by the way, as Nerdy Rodden would surely tell you, are nowhere near enough positive or negative prompts to really get a reliable result. I've seen how the pros do it. I tend to just add more positive negative prompts as I go. I could probably research this better.
I want to append a particular thing from where is it? It would be my ground king material, my inner. Just do my inner for that.
You can't get along stable diffusion most because it could understand the concept of raptor pope. See, I thought raptor would be very easy for it. I'm going to give it a background next time, crawling up from under a bed. And let's see, what is my denoising strength at? 0.3? Let's move that to 0.5. And I'll give it a little bit more wiggle room on the CFG scale.
Want shade smooth. And clear coat on this. Let's say that as it is for the meantime. Something's off with the coloring there. Let's see if that's an issue. We'll make this right here. No.
Mm-hmm. I should already be using Hackery. The steps are at 39. I could take that down to 25. It'd only be faster.
You know what? That's fine.
Yeah, I'm already using Hackery in this case. Nightmare, zombie, photorealism. Photorealism I could add. I think it will work this next time. Not this present batch, I've already screwed it up. But the batch after that should be very promising. Artificial stupidity came naturally. Natural stupidity was even more commonplace. Okay, now this is a little more like it. It's not quite where I think it should be yet, but now we're in the ballpark. Let's go and add photorealism.
This way.
I already have Nightmare Furby on there, so Nightmare is presumably covered. Muppet. I probably should have Muppet in there. Oh, next batch. Meanwhile, I have to say Fromun's Dankula, or just Dankula sculpt is going quite nicely. I hope he sees it, bro.
there. And I don't want this one to cast a shadow per se. Pillars, I want this right here to be from individual origins.
See, now if these had come off just a bit more photorealistic. I like that it's gotten the idea of the ears well. If there's something that I really screwed up on my original sculpt is that I didn't quite give the ears the depth they needed. But Stable Diff recognizes that. Meanwhile, JR, if it doesn't get your idea of the concept, then you just need to find the right words.
Join
it is
those
dumb,
together.
but it's all the smartest programs have been in years. Ever before, really, as far as we're aware.
I want to have that be 56. Or because those are way too high effective.
The worst thing it's doing so far is it's giving the Furby very lush lips, and I don't like where it's going with that.
So then for this here, let's see if I need to do a velvet BSDF. Going to that there with kind of like a dark red, that there. This right here needs to have a wood wave texture. What can do?
Okay, the next batch of Nightmare Furbies is ready, and the worst thing happening in this case is that it's actually much less disturbing. I mean, this one's just an adorable gremlin thing. This isn't going to give anyone a nightmare. Okay, I'm going to have to do something.
And brings
That you typically don't want to do with Stable Diffusion. You would think Stable Diffusion would be thrilled with this opportunity to intentionally add mutation and deformity. Typically, that's what any Stable Diffuser tinkerer is trying to get it to purge from any given image. Right to our haven. Putting lips in the negative is probably a good call. I'm going to add Vicious Beak to the positive prompts. Yeah, that thing's adorable. That's like defaulted into some sort of Muppet.
that looks good. Then we want a.
I hate it.
color
It's really
ramp.
good, and I hate it.
You and your Muppets.
Just look at it, Fromun. It's all sorts of pink and bright colors and cheerful. Adorable as negative prompt. Right you are. Next batch. Vicious Beak. Unnerving. Unsettling. Sinister? No, Sinister would probably just make it all black. We need something a bit more subtle than that, I think. You know, Fromun, I have an odd request. Before we close out this stream, is it possible you take a screenshot of the work as you see it and send it to me?
Sure, I can do just a good render of it. I mean,
Yeah,
so
a good render, or really, it doesn't need to be a good render. If you can just even take a screen cap of it
I
and make it.
understand. I'm
So
gonna do a render. I'm not gonna half-ass it.
I can then run that through Stable Diffusion, and we might be able to hand you back a photorealistic version additionally.
Photorealistic version. If I were to do that, I would do it myself.
But it wouldn't be happening live, and these are still entirely too cute. I mean, sure, they look like they're going to stuff things in places they shouldn't go, but they're not. It won't be out of malice, it's just because they don't understand human physiology. Too cute. Too cute. Also, I want to kill these neon colors. Flesh tones.
Okay, then, bird.
Walking in can make nice human zombies, but us furry. Yeah, I see that not working out too well. Plus, this thing shouldn't... Undead doesn't seem where I want to go with this. Alienist. Ooh, alienist. That should go in there. Body horror. That's the direction.
Save as
Alienist,
Show record.
Eldritch.
That's why it's not there.
If this batch doesn't do it, then the next maybe. And maybe I'm giving it a little too much creative freedom. Because it is getting very far from visual design. Let's dial it back to 0.35.
There you go. That's where I am right now with this.
Looking good.
So now that I have that, I want to. This.
I actually wonder what Stable Diffusion will say if I ask it for Count Dankula.
I want to take that. And
He's a public figure, but is he that much of a...
over 1 million subs.
By the way, has anyone in the audience subjected themselves to the Tucker Carlson Tate interview? Because I'm afraid to look, really. I hope Tucker Carlson raked him over the coals. I just have very little faith he did.
Then I can hide this. Do a
Okay, that's it. It's lost fur privileges as well.
vertex paint.
Okay, here's the latest batch, and once again, Stable Diffusion has actually made it more likable. In particular, I resent this bastard. I want one. It's like the bookish, one-eared gremlin Furby that has no patience for the other Furbies. Okay, this one looks like it's in the process of shitting itself to death, which is... It really looks like that, especially with the brown there, just like it went... And that's worth saving, I suspect, but not what I'm after. Tell me I'm wrong, though. That thing is shitting itself to death. And all its crap appears to be crochet. As befits The miserable Muppet. Okay, let's try again. By the way, I am not feeling very possessed of these images, so if anyone in the chat should want any of these images and can properly remind me as to what one you want, you can pass it along. Ideally in Discord. Maybe I'll put these all in postcards from the AI Overlord. Or a selection anyway. The highlights. I'm just really pissed that it keeps on making this perfectly respectable flesh horror Furby into toys one might generally be willing to give it to kids, as opposed to burn down their bedroom when they're discovered. Okay, the more I see this one, the more it's growing on me. And it's like he's got a tiny laptop. Well, it's probably more likely a box of chocolates. Ooh, better yet, that looks like it could easily be a matchbox as well. He's going to burn it all down. This one, again, just looks like it's going to stick things where you don't want it to stick things, and it will be completely innocent. Okay, this is just the same, only without fur and more poorly. Needs a little more freedom.
Mix. Color right there.
Better, but not sufficiently better. Greetings, Witchvetten! We're tinkering with stable diffusion refinements on my past sculptures, while Fromun knocks out of the park with Justice Dankula.
Yeah, virgin pipes. I think I'm at a good stopping point. I definitely will add things to this in the future, and I'll add, if Dankula does respond, it will be added his request. Like, I was debating on getting like a little picture of, like, one of the memes with him is that there's a picture of his wife who's very short and is sitting on a table, and just have her sitting on the side there.
Okay, I'm just going to resize the image you sent me.
So I'm gonna have, for those who don't know, a classic CGI trick. If you turn down the brightness on your lights, or if you have your ambiance be dark in general, it actually hides your mistakes and your bad artistry. So the lower I have to put my light, the better this should look. Image. And I also want to sure that my background objects. This head feels like it's almost too big. Oh.
Please hang in there. I am trying to pull off one more Hail Mary.
Okay. I did send you the image, by the way.
You did, and I'm in the process of doing something with it. It just requires some prep, you see.
Okay. Your face requires some prep use. Yeah.
First, I will see how my Nightmare Furbies turned out in this latest batch. And the answer to that question is still in... Okay, promising. I don't know why Diffusion really wants to dress them up in clothes now. And they're still too freaking cute. But we'll set that aside for now, as we're going to tinker instead with Dankula.
I could do a lot with that, but yeah. See, I showed up on time and I started working right, ahead of time with things.
Excuse me,
But,
I was doing work on the Omegog while setting up.
Really, pushing the envelope, if you will. Something like, I don't know. Getting shit done. There's the joke. There's the joke.
Wait, one of them had boobs?
One of the Furbies had...
Okay, yeah, that... Look, yes, it does sort of have boobs, I will grant. But it doesn't have nipples, so it's okay for this stream. All is well. Moving on.
Someone needs to donate $1,500. I'm just waiting on you to do a thing.
Highly photo of demonic, evil, rancid, rotting, decaying, nightmare Furby from hell, dark color palette. Oh! Yeah, that probably would have worked. But I've made up for the time lost due to my delayed start. Ooh.
I mean,
Sorry.
look, you could nerdy rodents, but you know we split this, so it's gonna need to be like 3,000. And I already have a 3070. I mean, I'll take a 4090, but like,
So not on this stream then.
no.
No, I don't think that was a genuine offering, but a nice thought. Or cruel tease, one of the two.
Either way,
It's all good
Look,
here.
look for the 1500. You know it would be a cruel tease. I'm assuming you get the joke.
I'm distracted. It's at 26 seconds and just hanging there. It's making me very nervous.
3090. Yeah. I could probably buy a 4090 if I wanted to, but maybe next year.
Okay. Some of these look relatively promising, although I can see at least one pug has been replaced with an arbitrary bottle of pills. We'll try this again. Well, I understand that, everyone. And I would say, of course, you should definitely prioritize it. We must work with what we've got. I'm just amazed that I'm able to do this much with the... Uh-oh. Yes, apparently every once in a while this causes my video card to heat up a bit because I hear the fans go off. And that always spikes my blood pressure.
Well, if the fans are going off, that means that it's working.
Hey. Well, here's some first...
I mean, like, I have been utterly cruel to my setup where, you know, I'll do a render and it takes 14 hours to render. That's 14 hours that my boyo's going full force.
Well, this is what Stable Diffusion thinks of your work. Apparently doesn't like gavels and has replaced pugs with overturned ashtrays, and in one case, I think that's supposed to be either a toy car or digital camera.
Yeah.
The weirdest thing is that it seems to decide that, in most cases, Count Dankula needs to have a paper face. Let's try this again.
Well, part of it is the contrast with lighting. That's what I'm seeing, because the other image that you had to compare it with had him lit in the day versus, well, I mean, in the original render that I had wasn't as wasn't quite like that. Still, it's just...
OnlyFans.
Yeah, I mean, these things are built for, I mean, honestly, like, the way that, given how games and such are kind of going, how do I feel about it? I think that we've kind of hit a limit to graphics, realistically. I mean, we can do 8K graphics, and at that point, we don't need to do any more. The human eye cannot work with anything beyond 8K.
We've already exceeded our own graphics capabilities. I suppose the next thing to do is figure out how we can upgrade our eyes to see the 8K graphics.
Well, my point here being is that our graphics, they can't get any better. So it really is now what we can do with that resolution. But even then, you know, there's low like people will make little dinky things like low pixel horror games. You know, where it's like the whole thing's like 320p. The whole screen is supposed to be 320p for that horror game. Those do extremely well, and they aren't built on the graphics. They're built on the ambiance. They're built on the story and everything. And that's something that, you know, it doesn't matter how good of a graphics card you have. I mean, or how terrible one you have. You can still experience that stuff.
Right, you are. Well, we have a new batch of Dankulas, and on the bright side, some of the pugs survived.
Was it Bronson or Bruta?
I have no idea.
Well, what are you gonna do with your 5 pounds?
Well, I'm not entirely sure.
I know I put you on the spot.
I suppose I could get a coffee. That's enough for a coffee, right?
That's not like that.
I'm not entirely sure how that converts.
I'm taking a look at something right now. So, man, the pound has gone through a lot of changes as of late. Because, like, there was a while ago where a pound was worth less than $1.
I just want to know why I suddenly have Chitty Chitty Bang Bang stuck in my head.
I don't know.
I blame Sparky.
Yeah, Darkest Dungeon, from my understanding, is good. Some of the games I've been going through, I've been playing Binding of Isaac as of late, which, you know, that's not high graphics per se. Perfect Tower, it has high graphics, but it's a simplistic art style, so I don't know what to make of that. Final Fantasy X or Bug Fables. Oh, Bug Fables is so good. If you remember, like, Paper Mario: 1,000-Year Door, you know, that masterpiece of a game, Bug Fables is like a open love letter to it, and it is so good.
Noted. Okay. I think I've made up for the lost time for my unfortunate delay.
Yeah, I know. Well, you know.
So we're going to wrap this up, but take one more look. First, on Supreme Court Justice Dankula, who is not flipping off the camera, which is really quite tragic.
Well, like, let me see. What has he been saying recently? So,
some of these aren't half bad, though. Well, they are half bad. They're at least half bad.
Babylon B says Supreme Court overturns Star Wars sequel trilogy, and Justice Dankula says you're welcome.
I want the sequel and prequel trilogy to just go away.
The prequel trilogy was good.
No.
Yes.
It's only good now, in hindsight comparison, what they did in the sequel trilogy. It was not good. They just managed to get us to lower our expectations.
First and foremost.
And nothing excuses Jar Jar Binks.
There is nothing quotable in the sequel trilogy. There are so many things that are quotable in the original trilogy and the prequels.
The original trilogy, yes. Prequels...
Hello there.
It wouldn't go
I
that
hate
far.
sand. It's coarse and rough and it gets everywhere.
Okay. Well, no. More accurately, the prequel trilogy was a lot more memeable.
No, they were both memeable. But the prequels had that style. It had the style of Star Wars. There was definitely some mistakes that were made along the way, but it did have the style of Star Wars. The new trilogy does not. And for its faults, Jar Jar Binks wasn't too bad. He was annoying, but he wasn't like the worst. Ray was worse than Jar Jar. And Jar Jar being a side character versus Ray being the main staple. There's
that.
Yeah, yeah.
Mind you, huge missed opportunity that Jar Jar Binks wasn't Darth Plagueis. Really should have been. Would have explained how that little bastard was both instrumental in the rise of Palpatine and also somehow managed to survive despite having no particular competence worth mentioning. Kind of an anti-competence, really. Now, if they're using Sith powers to get by regardless, that would have made a lot of sense.
Well, and, there's the entire point, the story of the prequel is, that a politician uses their victimhood to ascend to power, and in ascending to power, uses that to destroy the old order, to destroy the system of justice that they originally had. Which, that is a very good story. Was it told well? Yeah, it was okay. It has its issues, but the story was great. You had the style and the heart of Star Wars. It was definitely there. You can't say that for the new ones. I mean, Last Jedi. The Last Jedi. I'm just reminded, when Princess Leia gets sucked into the void. And, this is right after, what's her face? Carrie Fisher died. Princess Leia gets sucked into the void, and you think, oh, they're going to do this nice homage where she dies peacefully in space. No. She just, she rises from the dead. It goes to the door at that point, and she's not used again in the whole movie. Like, the reason that I have no idea why they kept it there. I digress.
I have theories, and none of them are kind. Hypotheses, rather. I didn't test any. I'm doing one more render of your accountant Denkla, and then I'm going to go ahead and shut down. I think we've had a good run. I don't know about you, but in my case, I'm going to go through everything I generated over this experiment and post the reasonably decent ones into AI Overlord postcards on the Discord server.
I am going to make a few jokes with mine on Twitter, and beyond that, I won't probably touch this unless Stankular specifically asks me to work with stuff, which I doubt will happen. But if it does, great.
We'll find out. Another hypothetical 15 seconds for results. And then we'll be on our way. It's going to be more than 17 seconds. In fact, it just went to 18 seconds from 17 seconds. Just because it thought we were getting a bit cocky. Now it's 19 seconds. Because it knows I'm talking about it. 20. 21. I'm going to ignore the timer. Before it starts getting to me. Okay, hopefully this one should be... No. All the pugs are there, but now he's got monkeys behind him for some reason. One of the pugs is wearing a party hat, the other one has had his face messed up even more than a pug's normally is. For some reason, his face is a cartoon again. Okay, well, that was a complete wash. Not worth waiting for in the slightest. Thank you all very much for tuning in for this. See you all next time, whenever that is, by whatever means. Cheers!
Ooh.